Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Future Force. Today we take a closer look at one of the boldest and most daring moves in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, a strike that not only set the Crimean Bridge ablaze but also struck directly at Russia's sense of security and dominance in the region. This attack has not just created a physical disruption to supply chains, but has also caused a massive ripple effect on the battlefield, in military planning rooms, and on the international political stage. It is a moment that reveals how modern warfare has evolved into something much more dynamic, asymmetric, and psychological. In this script, we are going to break down every detail about the strike, how it looked from the outside, what it really means from the inside, how well it performed, what kind of precision and safety measures were involved, what makes it so unique, what the cost and price really are, and finally, what conclusion we can draw about Ukraine's war strategy and the future of this conflict. When viewed from the outside, the strike was as dramatic as it gets. The Crimean Bridge is not just an ordinary piece of infrastructure. It is a massive structure spanning the Kerch Strait, serving as a vital artery connecting Russia to Crimea. Russia has considered it a symbol of pride and permanence since the annexation of Crimea in 2014. On the outside, the visuals were staggering. Flames engulfing the bridge, smoke pouring into the sky, massive damage that paralyzed traffic and supply convoys, and a sense of shock that reverberated across Russian media and international outlets. The exterior tells a story of power, impact, and psychological messaging. Ukraine wanted the world to see it, and indeed the images of the burning bridge traveled instantly across global television networks and social media platforms. The outside impact was not just destruction, but also theater, a performance on the world stage showing that Russia's invincibility is an illusion. But to truly understand this event, we must go into the interior, the deeper layer of what this strike means and how it was executed. The interior is like looking into the engine of a machine. Behind those flames and explosions were months of planning, intelligence gathering, and coordination. Ukraine's military planners and intelligence services worked relentlessly to find vulnerabilities in the bridge's defenses. The interior tells us that drones, either airborne or sea-based, were most likely used to carry out the precision strike. The use of innovative, relatively low-cost weapons against $1 billion structure highlights Ukraine's asymmetric advantage. Inside this story lies the careful calculation of timing, the use of satellite data, reconnaissance, and Western intelligence support. The interior also reveals the logistical heart of Russia's military campaign in the south. Thousands of tons of fuel, ammunition, food, and reinforcements were depending on this very bridge. By striking it, Ukraine struck directly at the lifeblood of Russia's occupation forces in Crimea and southern Ukraine. Inside the Russian command, panic must have unfolded. Senior officers would have scrambled to reroute supplies, field commanders would have reported shortages, and soldiers on the ground would have felt the immediate psychological weight of being cut off. The interior is about disruption, disrupting logistics, disrupting morale, and disrupting Russia's narrative of total control. When we shift focus to performance, it becomes clear that this strike was nothing short of a military success story. Performance in warfare is not just about the amount of damage inflicted, but also about timing, execution, and the ability to achieve multiple objectives simultaneously. This operation checked every box. It inflicted visible damage, delayed enemy logistics, embarrassed Russia internationally, and boosted Ukrainian morale domestically. Performance also comes in the form of global perception. Ukraine has demonstrated repeatedly that it can take the fight to Russia's doorstep, striking high-value targets that Moscow once considered untouchable. The bridge attack performed brilliantly in amplifying Ukraine's image as a nation that is not only surviving but also counterpunching effectively. It performed in terms of economics as well, a relatively inexpensive strike, achieving disproportionately high costs for Russia. Performance also extends into communication strategy. Kiev knows that every strike on the Crimean Bridge resonates not only on the battlefield, but also in Western capitals where continued aid is debated. By showing that advanced weapons and careful planning deliver results, Ukraine strengthens its case for ongoing military and financial support. Now let's consider the safety features of this strike. At first glance, war and safety seem incompatible. But modern military operations, especially those conducted by Ukraine, are carefully designed to minimize civilian casualties and focus on legitimate military targets. Safety in this context means precision, selecting weapons and methods that strike where intended without widespread collateral damage. It means operational secrecy, ensuring that details of the plan were tightly guarded so that operatives and assets were not compromised. It means executing the strike at a moment when civilian traffic was minimal, thereby reducing the chance of civilian deaths. Safety also refers to the resilience of the Ukrainian operatives and engineers designing these weapons, ensuring they can be deployed with maximum accuracy, while minimizing risks to those involved in the mission. The strike on the Crimean Bridge highlighted Ukraine's ability to use precision, guided, unmanned technology in a way that avoids indiscriminate damage, thereby strengthening Ukraine's moral standing in the war. What makes this strike truly stand out are its unique selling points. Every military operation has certain qualities that distinguish it, and in this case, the list is impressive. The first unique point is its symbolism. The Crimean Bridge is more than a piece of concrete and steel. It is Russia's proud statement that Crimea belongs to them permanently. By striking it, Ukraine directly challenged that claim, reminding the world that the annexation remains contested. The second unique feature is cost-effectiveness. A low-cost drone strike or missile can cripple infrastructure worth billions and paralyze supply lines. The third unique point is innovation. Ukraine has shown the world that smaller nations can stand up to larger powers through creativity, adaptability, and unconventional tactics. The fourth unique point is timing. Executing this strike during a critical phase of the conflict when Russia was trying to reinforce its southern front made the attack even more effective. Finally, the unique selling point lies in psychological warfare. The image of the bridge burning is imprinted in the minds of both Russian citizens and soldiers, eroding their confidence and feeding doubt into their long-term prospects of holding Crimea. The price of this operation can be looked at from multiple perspectives. On Ukraine's side, the financial cost of the strike was minimal compared to the outcome achieved. A drone or missile costs a fraction of what Russia will now spend on repairs, rerouting supplies, or deploying additional security measures. But the price is also measured in risk. Ukraine knows that every bold move can invite retaliation. The Kremlin may escalate airstrikes, target Ukrainian cities more aggressively, or attempt cyber operations in response. The price for Russia, however, is staggering. It includes the direct cost of repairing or rebuilding the bridge, the logistical headaches of rerouting supplies through longer land routes, the economic burden of delays, and the political cost of being humiliated on the global stage. The Kremlin has long claimed that Crimea is secure and permanently Russian. Every strike on the bridge undermines that narrative, showing that Russia cannot protect its most prized infrastructure. The psychological price for Russian soldiers and citizens is immense, as doubt and fear creep into their understanding of the war. In conclusion, Ukraine's bold attack on the Crimean Bridge is far more than a simple act of sabotage. It is a statement of resilience, a demonstration of asymmetric warfare, and a strategic masterpiece that combines intelligence, technology, timing, and psychological impact. On the outside, the world saw flames and destruction. On the inside, it was about disruption of supply chains and the unraveling of Russian confidence. In terms of performance, it was a resounding success that achieved multiple objectives. In terms of safety, it demonstrated precision and responsibility. In terms of unique selling points, it stood as a symbol of defiance, innovation, and cost-effectiveness. And in terms of price, it imposed an enormous burden on Russia while costing Ukraine relatively little. Together, these dimensions reveal the larger truth that Ukraine has the capability, the determination, and the creativity to challenge Russia at its core. This strike will be remembered not only for the damage it caused, but for the message it sent that even the mightiest powers are vulnerable, and that courage and innovation can reshape the course of war. The attack on the Crimean Bridge is not just history in the making. It is a lesson in how the future of warfare will be fought, with brains as much as with brawn, with precision as much as with power, and with strategy as much as with firepower.